We're here with Valiant Player again. We have some stars from the Furman women's lacrosse team. And I know these two really well. These guys come up, this team comes up to the hospital a lot. So this is Alana Epstein, she's a junior. So we get her back for one more year.
Yes, one more year.
Which is good. And Kaylee Coleman, who we are losing as a senior. So as we're fighting through the pandemic still, we're starting to get back at the hospital and do some things, but what we're trying to do in these interviews is talk a little bit about the experience with college and then talk about some issues with mental health, how it relates to athletes and kind of related to the kids up at the hospital, and we hope they find it inspirational. So let's just start out a little bit about your journey. Let's talk about, you've been through 3 years.
3 years.
And let's talk about what has been kind of like you expected and what's been a little bit of a surprise in those years.
I would say the most expected was the awesome team that we have. Like, our team chemistry is probably the best I could ever imagine really. A little unexpected, our coach actually transferred to a different team this year. So that's it's been a crazy year. But so that's been like definitely very unexpected.
And your journey, 4 years, how fast did it go?
Oh my gosh, it went by so fast. I think especially with COVID, it went by even faster because we were sent home for a period of time, but definitely can't take any moment for granted, and I definitely learned that this year.
Yeah. And how's the experience been coming up to the hospital? So just for a point of reference again, for 2 years now we haven't been able to do it, and to these guys' credit and other teams and other schools too, we've done origami, videos, pumpkins, Christmas gifts, blankets, Easter eggs, everything. So let's talk about what those visits mean to you and what you've taken from those.
So we did a lot of volunteer work as a team throughout my entire time here at Furman, but mostly in those first 2 years when we could do volunteer work. And Valiant Player was my favorite, and it's because what we were doing at Valiant Player actually felt like I was making an impact, and you felt it immediately. Not only did it, did the kids get excited when we were there, did we give them like a little bit of joy in their day, but it also kind of gives me joy and made me almost feel humbled that I did have the opportunity to go out and play the sport that I love, and I did have the opportunity to compete every day. And I think it made me more grateful for my opportunities in life.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, it was definitely awesome to see what we could do for those kids. Like, we would walk in and their smile would just grow even bigger, and which would make us even happier. They would show us what they were drawing, what they were making, or what they were watching on TV. And they would tell us also what sports they watch and how they just wish they could get back out there. So I definitely agree with Kaylee and how humbling it is to see that we can do that, and they can at the moment, but hopefully they eventually will be able to again.
Yeah, and as we've talked about before, because I'm the point person for it, they reach out to me all the time and thank me for the visits and always want to know when you guys are coming back. So as we talk about things that kids have to overcome, we're going to talk a little bit about some issues, mental health issues that these two have had to address, and you and I have had a chance to talk a little bit at length about yours, so why don't you tell us about your experience?
Yeah, so actually when I was born from family death, so which meant I could not hear anything at all. My parents would go around the room banging pots and pans to see if I could hear anything, but nothing. So I got cochlear implants, and after that it's letting me hear really anything almost as normal as anyone can hear, but it's taken a lot of speech therapy, practice. My mom used to have to narrate life to me because I didn't hear it growing up, when I was really young. So my mom would narrate everything so I could learn different vocabulary words and all of that. So growing up in the sport world, it's hard because our sport relies on communication. So sometimes I can't hear the plays being called or what the coach is saying. So it takes a different level of adjusting to get used to it. But my teammates here and in high school and everything have been really helpful, and calling out plays, yelling at me, pushing me to go somewhere. And the coaches wear a little device called an FM to make it's like a speaker, but it goes just to me. So that's helped a lot, but it takes a lot of extra work to overcome it, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, all right, and let's talk about some of the things you've had to overcome as well.
For me personally, mental health is a really big thing. I advocate for it a lot, and I try to help other teammates who are going or struggling through being a student and an athlete at the same time, wherever their issues are, overcome some sort of mental health issue. For me personally, this year has been extremely taxing on my mental health. Our coaches, all three of them, actually left in August out of nowhere to go to Coastal Carolina, which was, you know, my senior year coming back, and you think that you're going to come play for these coaches. You practiced all summer to be with these coaches, and then all of a sudden it's like your whole world feels like it's ending. And then also with a new coach coming in, that's just something big within itself, because she was completely new and we weren't used to her and she wasn't used to us, and it took a lot of adjusting, definitely, to have to prove yourself over and over to someone new. I became a member at the counseling center, which I'm very open about. I don't really care, but I think that people need to know, like, when they're going through something hard, that they need to find help, and like, you can't internalize it. I think I tried to internalize it for too long and it took a toll on my health. I think I'm one of the people who's like, no, I'm mentally tough, I'm good, I got it. And you don't really realize or recognize within yourself that you need help until someone, you know, kind of points it out to you.
We talked about this, you're not roommates, but you've been teammates for 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play Know Your Teammate. We're gonna see how well these guys know each other, and we're gonna have MG and Faith fire off these questions. So if the answer is you, raise your flag, but don't look at your teammate. Look out. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Who is the best singer?
I think neither of us can say flags.
No singers?
Who
Okay.
is the best dancer?
Okay.
Who's the funniest? Who's most likely to talk to a stranger? Who's most likely to eat something off the ground?
Oh, no.
Who's most likely to forget the other person's birthday?
Considering you were my wingman, I hope that's a no.
All right. What about who's most likely to want to stay in at night? Yeah. Okay.
Who's most likely to get lost in their hometown?
Kaylee, you're supposed to raise your flag or not point fingers.
Who's most likely to break a world record? These are inappropriate.
No, you're cheating. Oh God, don't answer those things. Oh my goodness.
John, I'm trying to get through them.
All right, who's most likely to laugh at the wrong time? Really? Have you done it?
Oh my god. Sometimes I laugh in class, like, hysterically, and I can't stop, so I have to leave the room. Oh, it's not good.
Who's most likely to marry someone they just met?
More finger pointing here. Yeah, it's you. Okay. All right. All right, that's it. You guys, you know what? I don't know if you guys know each other that well.